Good morning and a warm greeting from Antonio Carbonelli, Brescia, Italy. Past month, we dismantled Piketty on taxation, Samuelson on stagflation and Krugman on international trade. However, what is the relationship between economics and mathematics? At point 20 of my book Rethinking Economics, I show that we need mathematics if we want to explain certain concepts even to economists. Sometimes mathematical models may be useful to fit some concepts better, but we must not be intimidated by graphs and equations of economists. In most cases, graphs and mathematical models seem to be used due to the difficulty or inability of expressing complex concepts with discursive and understandable language, or in order to make economic assumptions impervious to criticism and to refutation, with the aggravating circumstance that if you get used to using them, you risk not to be able to do without them. Yet, economics practitioners have always got their sums right without needing complex mathematical models. Economic theories don't become valid just because expressed in a mathematical form, unless you pretend to see as reality those which on their logical level are only assumptions. Already Pareto in 1906 says that it is a very serious error to believe that by the mere fact of using mathematics, economics in its deductions has the rigor and certainty of the deductions of celestial mechanics. Keynes himself, in his General Theory, chapter 19, states that a too large part of recent mathematical economics is pure manipulation, as imprecise as the initial assumptions on which it is based on, that makes one lose sight of the complexity and interdependencies of the real world in a maze of pretentious and useless symbols. Mises himself, one of the theorists of liberalism, in his Human Action, chapter 16, states that the equations of mathematical economics are useless mental gymnastics. They neglect the theoretic explanation of the market process and evasively play around with meaningless notions. Hayek himself, the latter theorist of liberalism, in 1936 states that if we look at things more closely, these demonstrations are only apparent evidence of what has already been assumed. The Nobel laureate in economics Leontief in 1970 states that beyond the deployment of algebraic schemes, in no other field of empiric research is such a massive and sophisticated statistical apparatus shown with such negligible results. And Chang, professor at Cambridge, states that 95% of the so-called economics is simple common sense, made complicated by technical expressions and mathematical formulas. Furthermore, I add the mathematical models of economists have a serious defect. They are impervious to causal factors not included in the model. The result is that when a different causal factor intervenes, economists cannot explain the existence itself or reality, such as the crisis exploded in 1929 and in 2008. As Kant sees when destroying traditional metaphysics, the point is that there is a risk of taking for real what on a purely logical level is just not contradictory. Well, today we saw the relation between economics and mathematics. Next month, let's look into the origins of economic thought. Meanwhile, thank you for listening and goodbye.